Happy Friday. How are ya? I'm tired. I am tired today. So I was just chilling on the couch using Neville as a slow down device. He helps me rest. And also I'm getting really good at that. The whole self-care, taking care of myself thing. Progress. Having said that, I wanted to follow up on what I posted the other day about in our healing journey, in the human experience that we're having. Actions speak louder than words, and energy speaks louder than actions. This is so important. And this is part of the reason I want to talk about it right now, because I know it will make me feel excited. So, when you are engaging in the healing journey, whether it's healing your relationship with food and eating in your body, or it's healing chronic pain symptoms, or it's recovering from an addiction, any kind of coming back to yourself and healing work, you can think of as being in a relationship with yourself. So in my experience, like with my own weight gain and weight loss, it was a journey of really having been disconnected from myself and then ultimately coming back to myself, listening to my body, feeling my feelings, telling the truth. But all of this I'm saying because think of all of this as a relationship with yourself. That's why just starting with actions speak louder than words, the same way that that's true in any other relationship, it's also true in this relationship. It's super important to understand and also really intuitive and understandable because you know what it's like to be in a relationship with another human. And if another human says, I will make time for you later, and then doesn't, the action speaks louder than the words. Words can be just kind of this empty promise of I will make time for you, or I will commit to something, or I will show up, or I will help you, or I will support you, or I will give, I will do, I will whatever. We're making a commitment, but then if we don't follow through, we lose trust. You said you were going to do something and then you didn't do it. You said you were going to be there and then you weren't. So just on that level, it's understandable how in the relationship with ourself, it works the same way. If you tell yourself that you will make time and space and then you don't show up, you just broke a promise to yourself. So that's where we start to get into a lack of trust from self to self, between mind and body in some ways. And that's that. Okay, so actions speak louder than words. You know this, and it makes sense intuitively. But what I mean by energy speaks louder than actions is the important part. Because if we think that healing ourselves and connecting mind to body is actually as simple as just doing things, just following through on the promise, just committing to something and then showing up to it, we're actually missing, I think, the most important part. That is the energy with which we are showing up to the action. Now we're having a conversation about love or fear, because that's what's going on a deeper level. I'll just give you an example I always use. That is, let's say the problem or the situation that you're running into is that constantly after dinner, you just want to eat and eat and eat and eat. And you know that you're not physically hungry. You know that this is like a stress emotional thing. And you don't want to keep eating everything in the kitchen. Okay, fair. So that's where we could say we can commit to doing some sort of action. So we decide that maybe going for a walk after dinner would be helpful. So we commit to an action. And so if you show up to do that action, great, you're keeping the promise to yourself and you're doing something for yourself. And that's great. You have all the right intentions. But this is why we need to have a conversation that's deeper than that and actually about the energy of the action and where you're coming from. So let's say you're going on this walk and what's going through your head is that you have to go on this walk because if you don't, the fear is that if you don't go for this walk, then you'll stay at home and you'll keep eating everything and then you'll gain all this weight and then this and that and this and that. It turns into catastrophe and that's what's going on in your head. So you're going on this walk, but you're still coming from a place of fear. That is, I have to go on this walk or something bad will happen to me. Now, same situation, you still are going for a walk, but now the thoughts and feeling around the walk is, I keep eating food when I'm not hungry. I'm using food as a way to dissociate from what I'm feeling. Maybe if I go out and take a walk, it'll help me decrease my stress in a healthy, organic, natural way. And then I'll come home and maybe I'll feel a little bit better. And I'm doing myself a favor by going out and getting a walk, for example. The problem is not the walk, or the problem is not that you're not doing the walk. Either way, the walk is not the problem. We don't have to get concerned with just showing up to do the actions. What happens when we're coming from a place of fear, I need to do this thing or something bad will happen. When the energy is fear and scarcity and need, or I won't survive, or I won't be okay, you're more likely to come home from your walk and still eat everything in the kitchen because you didn't actually get yourself out of the energy of fear. You just maintained it and then went on a walk. But if you're coming from a place of, I want to go for a walk after dinner because this is something that will really help me feel better and really decrease my stress and bring me into my body in the moment, you're coming from a place of love. You're really trying to do yourself a favor. You're looking out. When you do something like take a walk after dinner with the intention of love, I want to help myself, I want to do myself a favor, that's what you feel and that's what you receive. And then you're much more likely to come home from that walk having actually met the need of stress relief and connection to yourself and embodiment of yourself, so that you don't have to come home and then continue to eat everything. But the problem with this whole conversation is that I think we get very preoccupied with the action, committing to doing something and doing it. And again, that's a very important part of the healing process. You do need to commit to yourself. You do need to keep your promises to yourself. And you do need to consistently be showing up for yourself. But and I have fallen for this myself, I have totally been there myself. If you start or if you continue regularly showing up to your commitments from the energy of fear, so I have to do this, or I should do this, or I'm supposed to do this, or something bad will happen if I don't do it. If the energy is still that of fear, scarcity, lack, not going to be okay, need, the energy speaks louder than the action. Always, always. And the really important thing about the relationship with yourself that is different than the relationship with other people is that when it comes to other people, sometimes if you're good at faking it or lying or manipulating, other people will fall for your bullshit. They'll really believe you. And you can show up. You can bullshit other people, ultimately, is what I'm saying. Some people can't feel the energy that way. And that's that. But the beautiful and sometimes awful, to be honest, thing about the relationship with yourself is that you can't bullshit yourself. You can try. You probably are on some level trying to bullshit yourself. I've certainly fallen for trying to bullshit myself. But the real truth is that because energy speaks louder than your words and your actions, we can't really heal on the level that we need to heal until we are telling the truth and coming from a place of love. When the energy is love and the action is self-care, then you're actually healing on a mind, body, soul level. But we have to include energy in the conversation. So just in a general sense around this, when it comes to your own healing, instead of thinking of slowing down and self-care and telling the truth and setting boundaries and feeling feelings and all of the things that are good and healthy for you and going to restore your system and your mind-body connection, Instead of thinking of all of those items as things that you need to do or should do, because that's still coming from a place of fear and lack and scarcity, if you think of yourself as a being that has until now had neglected parts. So the part of you that has wanted to slow down and be still has been neglected. The part of you that needs self-care has been neglected. The part of you that needs to set boundaries and tell the truth about how you're feeling, that part has been neglected. And when you're doing these things, it's not like you're reaching for something outside of you to complete you or to make you feel whole. It's really that these are parts that you just weren't meeting. So instead of it energetically, again, being something outside of you that's going to complete you, understand that this is within you already. This is already within you. And what you're doing is really just meeting your needs. You're just getting something that you've needed for a while. And from that perspective, all of these self-care items become from a place of love, not fear. You're getting a need met. Ultimately, you're not doing chores. You're not checking things off a to-do list. That energy is going to keep you where you are rather than get you where you want to go. And this is what I mean when I say energy speaks louder than actions. Your words matter to yourself, but your actions speak louder than your words. Your actions towards yourself matter, but your energy matters more than your actions. Energy, actions, words. And for you to heal the way that you want to, in a mind-body connected way, it means that you reach all of those levels and are connected to all of those levels. Okay? One more thing about this that's important though. That is, while your actions are more important than your energy, your energy is more important than your actions. It's also important that we understand how powerful and the magnitude to which that is true. Meaning, it is better, healthier for you to sit in the energy of love with the absence of an action than it is for you to take action from a place of fear. What that means is, kind of like what I was just doing, better for me to do none of the things I planned on doing and sitting in the energy of love, of how do I take care of myself? How do I give myself what I need? How do I meet my need right now? Way healthier and way more rooted in love and connection for me to scrap the plans and scrap the versus the alternative would be doing the actions. Or for example, if I was thinking about going to a yoga class or going for a walk or going to the gym, some of the actions that I have in mind for my own self-care and my own health, but I would be doing those actions from a place of I should, or I'm supposed to, or I have to, or something bad will happen if I don't, something like that. So better for me, holistically, to lie down on the couch, abandon the actions and sit in energy of love, then go cross all the items off my list from the energy of fear. So I hope that makes sense. It is always the healthiest thing for you to do, to sit in the energy of love and give and receive love from yourself. That's always going to be the healthiest thing you can do, always.